be a part of Sunset Boulevard.
So we're going to begin tonight with well, I'll be honest, it's a bittersweet statement that I have to make. I am excited for this news for her, but it's still difficult for me because we have bonded in a great relationship, but she's going on to do some more fantastic and wonderful things. I want to congratulate Megan from the Avery Center. I just got news. I just read the email a little bit ago. I'm still a little bit, if you will, verklempt, because I found out that she is stepping down from her position with the Avery Center to move on, and any more involved active position with another organization about trafficking. I love Megan with all my heart, and I hate to see her go from the Avery Center, but I am thrilled that she is being able to do what she's doing now. So congratulations. All the hard work, the 10 years has paid off, and I am thrilled that everything has come to fruition for you. Megan, again, congratulations. Hey, everybody, Zak here with with pACT and President and Founder Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care. We're going to be doing things a little bit different tonight. Our goddess of the grape is not feeling that well this evening. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be bringing in a great friend of mine. And as a matter of fact, I was on her show last night. So it's kind of like, well, oh yeah, I'm going to have you on mine tonight. And that's kind of what we're doing here. But we are thrilled to bring in Zita from Zita's Healthy Beginnings. Hello, Zita. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Zak. Thank you so much for having me this evening.
Hey, that's not a problem. Like I said, I think it's fantastic that we're able to do this on consecutive nights, and we're bringing you on because you, my dear, are our first program of the One Hope Wine fundraising event of the year. So
Wow.
We are going to be teaming with Stephanie Samos, who is going to join us on Friday, on our Friday show. And we're going to do our little bit of the show then. But right now, Stephanie, even though she wasn't feeling great, she's still a champ, and she's still got this part done. And right here is the QR code that you can use. And through the month of January, anytime you visit One Hope Wines using this QR code, Zita's Healthy Beginnings will receive a portion of your purchase. So you buy 2 or 3 bottles of wine, and Zita can help create hospitals and teach doulas and do all the wonderful things that she does in the world of training mothers how to be mothers and health for babies. And the one thing that we want to do right now is, Zita, I'd like to bring you in on this and ask you, please tell us a little bit about Zita's Healthy Beginnings. How did you start this wonderful program?
Thank you again, Zak, and thanks to our audience for this wonderful time, first time of the year with this wine business. And I tell you what, when I got your email this afternoon, I said to myself, this is no coincidence. There's no such a thing as a coincidence. As far as I'm concerned, everything is divinely designed to be. So yes, I'm so happy to share with your audience about my organization. My name is, as you know, is Sister Zita Iwouha. I have lived in United States now for 20 years, and I'm a nurse and a midwife. I have worked in different settings with pretty much women and children. And I like the question you asked me, what made me to start this? So I'm glad you asked. My this whole intention started with my personal life story. I'm gonna cut it short. When my mom was pregnant with me in Africa, when at that time is the time that Western medicine wasn't really in vogue, and people were not really running to them. They were pretty much using the traditional, birth attendants and stuff like that. So my mom was 7.5 months, almost 8 months pregnant with me, and she unfortunately got bitten by a strayed dog, and
Mm.
she had to be forced almost to really sit at the back of my father's bicycle and travel 30 miles each way to get the anti-rabies that protected her and myself from the disease. And after that was not easy. She did that for 7 good days, and thank goodness we were safe. After I was born, about 4 to 6 weeks, I caught bronchitis, and my mom had to take permission from my father's kindred to take me to the hospital to seek for medical help for me, because I literally stopped, really sucking breast. And at that age, you couldn't really feed a baby anything else other than the breast milk. And my father's kindred declined, and my mom went out of her way against their advice and took me to this hospital. This time she walked 30 miles each way,
Wow.
to the hospital, and had to stop in between to really breastfeed me. Got there at sundown and was sick, and I was sick, of course. Long story short, we were treated, and my mom had to make that journey back to the village. But on her way back, she was so afraid to meet the kindred who did not permit her in the first place to take me out, because it was too early at that age to take a baby out. And she instead went to her dad, and her dad was the chief of their own town. And her dad sent delegates that escorted my mom to my father's house, and she was really safe, and I was safe from our kindred. So when I was 7 years old, my mom did share that story with me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what a way, for a woman to give birth, even be pregnant, went through all of that, then give birth to me, had to really walk all that, miles to make sure she secures health care for me and for herself. So I said to her, I think you've really given a lot. And that also tells me what mothers do, in most cases, silently, quietly, with nobody's recognition. And I said, when I grow up, that I'm going to be a missionary and go around the world helping mothers to actually raise their kids and really have safe birthing and safe pregnancy, and to make sure that kids are healthy. So when I started growing up, just be careful what you wish, it usually comes to pass. And that's what I'm doing right now. I've been to different parts of the world, both Europe and America, here, Africa, doing the same thing, and that is working with women and children. When I came to the United States 20 years ago, I found out I was a little bit disappointed, because my hope was so high. I thought every woman here is being cared for and their babies are healthy and stuff like that. Come to discover that no, that was not the case. In fact, United States right now, research has it that we are one of the highest maternal and infant mortality recorded in the in the history of the World Health Organization and UNICEF, and that's not really funny. So about 7 years ago, I asked myself, what should I do to really make an impact? As a midwife, I know that birthing is a good thing. It's a happy thing, not a life, you know, sentence for any woman or even the baby for that matter. But that was happening, still happening, unfortunately. So I decided to found Zita's Healthy Beginnings, and what we do is to work with community individuals, work with organizations to reduce the incidence of maternal and infant mortality here in the United States and elsewhere in the world, starting our program right now in Nigeria. And what we do, how we do it is through education at all levels. We educate our educators, we also educate lay people, we do advocacy. I talk to people in authority at any time, whenever I get a chance, for them to recognize what is going on in this country and what is going on in the world in terms of maternal and infant mortality. I also do training of doulas, and I am really hoping to build a place where I can do that more here in the United States and also do it in Africa. And we also do farming, which we just started just last year. And I want to tell you, I sent you an email that has one of our first set of harvest for the plantain and bananas and all that things, and it's organic. We encourage women to get into their environment and make use of it. Till the soil, plant vegetables, plant fruits that will really help them to feed their babies healthy food, so that they can be healthy both in their mind, body, and spirit. And I do podcasts, as you know, and that's also another medium that I'm using to, let people know who I am and what I do.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's all I do in a nutshell. Thank you.
Well, you don't only do one show, but as we were reminded here quickly earlier by our great friend Brian Gibson, you are also hosting his show, talking about what they're doing, and you
Yes.
guys entrusted some funny-looking guy to do an intro for you guys, and he misspelled your name.
That's okay.
I fixed it though. I fixed it today and I've sent it in, so it's
Good.
all fixed now. But boy, that one guy, he sure is kind of dense sometimes. So, but yeah, so you're really getting into this because you just celebrated your first year doing World of Women, which is a fantastic show, and we're thrilled to be able to share World of Women here on the pACT channel. If we could if we could ever get our stuff together, we will just show it live, but it's a
Mhm.
little hard to do that sometimes. But yeah, we're thrilled to have that on there because some of the stuff that you talk about and some of the women that you bring on are just so inspirational, not just for women, but truthfully, if men would watch and if they would take a little bit of time, you can learn a lot about what's going on. And I think that is, if we try to learn about each other a little bit more, I think it's just going to, it's just going to make our lives a lot easier, one, and a whole heck of a lot better. um I would like to commend not just your mom but every mom, because that story, Zita, to me tells the strength and dedication of a lot of mothers out there who, you know, well, she's just a housewife. No,
Yeah, I
no,
know.
no, no. That's not true.
Right.
8 months, I mean, 8 months pregnant, being on a bicycle.
Hmm.
Ah,
On a
I,
rough road. Yeah.
yeah, there you go, on a really rough road. And I mean,
Right.
I'm about, I just look like I'm about, 32 years pregnant, but I couldn't get on a bicycle on
Okay.
paved streets. So, being on a motorcycle is enough. And then walking that 30 miles with an infant that you have to stop and breastfeed in I don't know much about where you were at, but let's be honest, it probably wasn't the friendliest of places
Mm.
to have a young child and a single mother there, was it?
No, it was not. It was
So
not. Yeah.
tell me this. This is something that what you've already mentioned how the United States has the largest average of mortality rates in the world, which is just devastating to hear. How different is the training from here to, say, Africa? I know that there's going to be differences because of technologically
Mhm.
advanced United States uh, to not so advanced in Africa. How much difference is there in that training?
Yeah, so that's a lot of difference, and like you rightly pointed out, technology and innovation has really helped the Western world, advance in healthcare in so many different ways, including obstetrics and gynecology. But when it comes to birthing, I know that the history of the United States and birthing in the 18th century or prior were really focused on it was same as what was going on in Africa. People were able to recognize birthing mothers, recognize doulas, recognize their skills and their talents, and recognize people who were naturally gifted, who could get training, on how to support a woman who is pregnant, who is birthing, who is supporting her baby after birth. And also, they were recognizing the importance of breastfeeding the baby, because I believe strongly that God made that breast milk for the baby, and I think all animals on the planet always feed their babies with their milk. We are the only ones that decided to do otherwise. And that's really hurting us a lot. Prior to the 18th century and 19th century, that was the practice. People go to, even obstetricians and gynecologists go to women's homes and deliver them. And that was exactly what my grandfather did up until 20th century. He went in people's homes. You did not have to go to the hospital. Hospital is not a place to give birth. It's in the maternity or birthing homes. That's where women give birth to babies. So they will go to people's villages, go to their homes. They use a lot of natural remedies. They help them. They ate the food from the soil. There was no such a thing as artificial food or tinned food and stuff. Women really were practicing the cultural way of how a woman should be, what she should do, what she should not do while she's pregnant. And there was a lot of time that women had at that time, with being in their family, raising kids, having enough time to breastfeed their babies, and bonding with babies. All of that were really happening in a very natural way. Now, when you compare that to what is going on right now in the United States, and the past, let me say, 20 years now, women are becoming the breadwinners, more of the breadwinners of the family. About statistics has it that about 65 to 70% of American families are run by single moms. So you think about it. A single mom has to fund for the rest of the family when she's pregnant, when she has a baby, after baby is born. So she gets little or no time to even take care of herself, bond with her baby, breastfeed the baby, and support the baby the way she should. And now we are left with all these postpartum complications we
Mm-hmm.
are having today. And you see a lot of mental health issues among young people is so alarming, especially women. And all of this is, a combination of lack of rest, lack of sleep, lack of financial support. In fact, social support is critical, but that is lacking here also. So when you put all of that together, that is really a huge difference. In Africa, when a woman has a first baby, the first 1 month, she is being supported by family and friends who come in, who cook food, who help her to even do sitz bath and stuff like that, help her nurture herself so she can be in the right frame of mind to nurture her baby. And the first 1 month of birth is very critical for any woman, especially after they give birth to their babies. But to find out that here, it really scares me when I see some of my moms, they say, oh, well, after I have my baby in 2 weeks, I'm going back to job. I'm like, oh my gosh, really? I mean, how do you even talk about that? You're still just going through all the motions of giving birth. Your baby's trying just to get acquainted with you, and here you are with the baby and running to the job. And it's so heartbreaking for me.
I
And
wonder. I wonder a lot of times, Zita, how much is and can you explain to some of us, because Brian brought up a really good point here, that America, we've lost the position of the midwives. What is a
absolutely.
job of a midwife? What is the job of a doula?
Yeah, so we have really lost the role of the midwife. That is so true. I agree. So the midwife is different from the doula. Just if you have an idea of what a nurse, a registered nurse, and a CNA, an assistant nurse, that is the relationship that exists between a doula and a registered midwife. And they do a little bit extra, especially here, because they are being trained to also, some of them are beginning to really go the extra mile of helping to really catch the baby, learn more about that. Basically, a doula will assist the woman when she's pregnant, and she does that through home visiting. She can also connect with her on the phone. They talk about, what is the month, what are you experiencing, are you following a doctor's appointments, are you registered with the midwife, where are you going, how is it coming, are you taking your prenatal pills? So all of that, and then planning what is your plan after your baby is born. And the nurse and the client will really take time to bond with this doula, who will hopefully help her all through pregnancy when she's in the hospital or in the birthing center trying to give birth to her baby. To answer some questions, I don't know if you have witnessed when a woman is in labor, a lot of them are not with it. I mean, like they need a lot of help. They're not answering questions well. First time moms are even worse, they need that support, everything they need. So the doula is there to render those services, especially those of them now who are like first time moms who are also single mothers. They don't have that support from family. And if they do, they're not really professionals. Sometimes they don't even know the questions to ask. And with our healthcare getting so complicated right now, you need someone that has all it takes to really ask the right questions and be able to provide the right answers for the woman. They also support women in training and helping them on how to breastfeed. Because no matter what you do or say to a pregnant mother about breastfeeding, until she holds the baby in her arms, she's not going to get it. So you learn more as you do it. So now a midwife in my country and other parts of the world midwives are very critical. You don't need a doctor. I keep saying that you do not need a doctor to be pregnant and have your babies. Yes, you can go when there are issues, and a midwife stands there to tell you because she examines the woman. She knows what's going on with the woman. She listens to the heartbeat of the baby. She knows what to do. She's trained to do just that. She's trained to deliver the woman safely and soundly. The only time that a midwife will refer a woman is if she's a first time mom and having problems, if she is older than 35 years or younger than 18 years. So because these are really the critical, ages where we pay attention because we consider them as high risk mothers. So other than that, a midwife is so equipped to take care of everything about a pregnant woman from the first day she gets pregnant to the day she has her babies. And in my country, as we speak, what we have a lot is maternity homes, birthing centers. You hardly hear a woman going to the hospital except she cannot give birth to her baby. And that is very, very minimal. It's about 2% of women will have that kind of complication. Here in the United States, I'm sad to say that midwifery, the midwives and doulas and the pregnant women rapport very well. But I'm sorry to say that doctors have hijacked this profession. And it is all about the finance. It is all about insurance. It's all about money. It has nothing to do with any complications because I have worked in other parts of the world where they have little or nothing. And women give birth happily and healthy. You don't have to go to the hospital. Right now, unfortunately, insurance has made it in such a way that we cannot even get away from it. But I applaud women who are like me, who are still talking and teaching and empowering midwives and doulas to get up and take back their power, do what they need to do. A lot of midwives are no longer interested in doing it because insurances and hospitals are coming together, and they have seen the benefits in making money from pregnancy, childbirth, and all that. So it's like a fight, unfortunately. But yes, that is a big difference in Africa and here in the United States.
How much how much interest have you been drawing with women who say, you know what, I want to get back to doing these procedures, get back to actually caring for these babies as they come into this world, because it's something that those first few moments are so important in a baby's life.
Yes.
How much interest are you drawing with your program to get women to become involved with getting back into being a doula or midwife?
Yeah, so as a profession itself, few people are interested in doing that for the reasons I've mentioned. One is they say, when I become a doula, it's really hard to get customers because insurance does not even compensate doulas. That's another war we're fighting. And we're like, why would you not? Especially the Medicaid, you would think that they can really support these women because these women have the fundamental training, teaching, education, that, and then support, physical support to give to women. When women in the hospital with the doctors, I'm afraid you know how many minutes a doctor gives a patient. It's minimal. And when it comes to breastfeeding, you need more time. You need patience. So those of them who are really interested and really want to help are doing it, but not so much because they know that they're not making money or much money out of that. Now, the midwives are really interested, but what is interesting about midwives not really getting it, many of them, is because the training institutions are not many. So you only have, like in Pennsylvania, we only have one university, and what is that, in Philadelphia. I mean, can you imagine? So you don't really have, and then it's the master's degree that they have, the midwifery school. So in my country, we have women who are doing midwifery for 2 years training, 3 years training, 4 years, up to doctorate, and that gives a whole lot of, support to women at different levels. But here, it's not happening because they're not allowing women who are interested in midwifery to even start from like their first degree, second degree, or into doctorate. So that's where we have to start to correct this, because if you really want to change a system, you're going to have to find out where the problem is and start from there. So that's what I have noticed, and that's what the issue is, that we're not getting a lot of people interested in embracing this wonderful profession.
Yeah, I know that when my second son was born, I witnessed the case of the CNA coming in and taking a little bit of time to try to teach uh, my son's mother how to breastfeed, but after 2 days they just threw their hands up in the air and said "bleh" and walked away. One of
Right.
the other things that I wanted to say about this is that I think you brought it up in a point, and I think it's so true, is that these first time mothers that are having baby, their support a lot of times are first time fathers,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
let's be honest here, a first time
mhm.
father, we don't know what's going on either. So we're kind of, we're just as lost. And yeah, while we're wanting to support, we are just as lost. I mean, we can be there to support, we can be there to say good things, you're doing great, sweetie, you're
Right.
doing fantastic. But that's not actually, while it might be helping a little bit, that's not helping the baby come easier for her. And I know that there were a couple times where I felt like I was just being a hindrance. So um, my first son was born a natural birth. My second son was born C-section. So I've got to see both sides of this story, and both times, honestly, I was just absolutely very little help, to be honest with you, because I was just confused and lost as anybody. But so, what would be something that would help you, other than just the financial aspect of what we're trying to do here? What are some of the other things that can help you get the word out about what you're doing, or
Yeah.
help you, or help you do what your aim is?
Yeah, so I think sharing, I always believe in sharing and creating awareness. Any opportunity that I get, I like to do that, because I know for myself, even if one person heard me and put it into practice, that's saving life. One life is so significant. When I visit my mothers in their homes, and back to what you were talking about, men really naturally, that's not your gift. But I try, when I'm educating the mother, I try to say to the man, please, can you join us? Because you might be thinking that this is women's affairs, and it is true. It is like 90% women's affairs, but guess what? We need that 10% from you. And that
Hmm.
will really go a whole long, way. And when I'm demonstrating with my dolls, I even say to them, can you hold it? Can you just hold this and see what I mean? It might look really silly to you, But when that time comes, I'm telling you, you're going to be shaking like a jelly, So I'm like, but I like to prepare you when I'm also preparing your partner. That way it will be a smooth sell. So that's one of the things I want to also include in my program is to prepare the partners, the guys, because honestly, I know that guys cannot really do it unless they get support. In fact, they need much support as much as we're giving the women, because some of them could really help when the woman have that breast milk expressed. They can take their turn to feed the baby. So if they learn how to do that, honestly, spare the woman a couple of hours at night, that will go a long way to help her to remain sane to take care of the baby. So, yes, we really need men and we need to help them, educate them, encourage them, empower them, because guess what? The baby is for both, it's not just for the woman. So,
Yeah.
yes, please sharing my message there, Word of Women podcast, letting people, if they want me to talk on their own podcast or invite me even physical to come talk. This is what I'm doing for the rest of my life, is supporting women, supporting families. And any opportunity I get to do that gives me so much joy, because that's all I want to live for. Making sure that our young ones are growing up the right way. And that right way is making sure that their mothers are able to give them that breast milk that they need, that is so critical. Not only that is critical for them, it is also critical for the mothers. Because look at what is going on these days. We talk about cancer, of all kinds of cancers going on.
Yeah.
This is happening as a result of lack of breastfeeding among women. They may not believe that, but research has confirmed it. If women are committed to breastfeeding, even their weight, cancer, ovarian cancer, breast cancer, uterine cancer, all those cancers are being minimized almost to zero if women commit to that. Isn't that an extra thing? Plus, it helps them even to space their families. It all needs commitment. And I want to teach women how to do that because it is possible. I have lived in countries where women did it. And it's the same anatomy. There's nothing different about living in the United States or living elsewhere as a woman. It's all about your environment and what you're doing with your body and how you want to train yourself.
Yeah, and I think that that's I really do. I think that once again you bring up a great point, because the food that we ingest today, and this isn't just, I'm not just talking about the baby foods, but everything that we ingest today, unless you go strictly organic, in which even strictly organic, there's stuff that's in the air that you're
Mhm.
still ingesting. Okay. There's still stuff that's in the air that, it ain't going to go away anytime soon. So it's still getting on the food, still getting into the crops, the stuff that's fed to the animals that we eat. There's still stuff in there that's not meant for us to put into our bodies. It's one of the reasons why our kids are larger than they've ever been
I
before,
know. Yeah.
because of these chemicals and stuff,
Right.
so it's just, there's so much that we're putting in foods where, yes, it sits on the shelf longer, but there's another point: how long is too long for something to sit on the shelf?
Mhm.
um
Mhm.
recently we had the formula shortage, and imagine how much, how many people would have been in a better situation if they would have not needed
Right.
that formula. So these are such wonderful, wonderful lessons that you teach them. Tell us a little bit about World of Women. I've got the address up here where they can watch World of Women live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. East. Tell us a little bit about World of Women and what you're trying to accomplish there.
Okay. Yeah. So World of Women, like I said, is also an offshoot of Zita's Healthy Beginnings. It's another outlet that I feel is very important and necessary for women to, and men actually, to come together, to listen to me as I, periodically share my experience as a nurse and a midwife, and to know, to learn, and really to empower them as well. In that, for them living their own individual lives and trying to raise families. I also use that opportunity to invite other women and men who are really interested, because I found that there are many people who are really interested in their own bodies, building themselves up in a healthy way, building families, or even their own community, and then the whole nation. There are individuals who are really committed to doing that, and there are individuals who have skills that they could share with us. So I invite people to come every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I know some podcasts are being done, and they do it and then they just put it. Why I took the option of having people come and having audience is so that we can do it interactively, because I believe that every single person got ideas that could help the other person. So if we're really interacting, ask questions, make comments, make suggestions, people are able to learn better that way. So that's why I brought a Word of Women podcast, because I know that's where women thrive. We love to talk about life. We love to talk about our health. We love to talk about our families. We love to talk about businesses and
Yep.
stuff like that. So that's why I started World of Women podcast.
Yeah, and like I said, yes, it is called World Women, but men, I'm telling you right now, check it out because it is. There's
Yes.
you're going to be able to learn a lot of things in there. So, I mean, it's not just it's a way for a lot of women to get on there and express what they do and tell us about what they do. But there's also guys on there who are interested in trying to help women in many aspects of life. Uh, I was lucky enough to be on the show last night when we introduced this wonderful looking uh, um, document, I guess I can say. It's a little shareable, but it's got the QR code on it. And this QR code right here, and you can also see it right up here in the corner. But when you scan that document, when you scan that QR code, it's going to take you to this form. Okay. All you have to do is visit any of these. You click on this little button right here on this form, and it's going to take you to all of our partners. You shop with any of those partners, and it doesn't, from all around the world, you can shop with any of those partners. You make a purchase with them, you take a photo of your receipt, or you upload your receipt right there. You give us your name, you give us your email if you would like to dedicate your receipt in honor of someone, like my mother. I would love to honor some things in her, and I don't want to say memory because she's still here. I would like to dedicate it to her for all the work that she's done. We do ask you for your phone number and address, but they're not. You don't see the red button there. They are not mandatory. And then you simply hit submit. And when you do that, your purchases will go to Zeta by using this wonderful form right here. It will send us the information that you purchased through one of our partners, and our partners are going to give us a referral, and that referral becomes a much needed donation to Zeta and Zeta's Healthy Beginnings. So, Zeta, how did they get a hold of you?
So they can call my cell phone, 412 926 They can also send me an email at iziwouha@yahoo.co.uk. You can still go on my website, and we have zitahealthy.org. And if you go to our Linktree email link, you can still get us there, and it's a Linktree. That's the link.ee. I think it's TEE/zitahealthy.org. So you will get, any way you want to get us. Is very easy to locate us. Just, or you can also go just on my LinkedIn and just put in there Zita or Zita Iwouha, and I will come up. So yes, if you go to, also, we're on what do you call that, Instagram, yeah, TikTok. So yes, you have a lot of options that the people can look at us, see what we're doing, and just find ways to connect with us.
I still haven't gotten down to TikTok yet. I don't. I haven't tried that yet. My wife, however, she is a huge fan of TikTok, but not not something that I do all the time. But I guess I'm going to have to do it here pretty soon. Zita, I wanted just take and I want to thank you so very much for joining us tonight and letting us learn more about Zita's Healthy Beginnings. I look forward to when you're going to join us again here in 2 weeks for our halfway point, and we can keep telling people more about what you do. I did once again want to bring up. Now I got to reconfigure all of my other screen on my computer because I've been going through so much. But I did want to bring this up one last time for right now. And Zita, I will be sharing this with you, this form with you, so you can pass it to everyone. But please remember, for the next month, when you go to this QR code, the one on the flyer, not the one in the corner, but anytime that you shop for wine with through our dear friend and Stephanie, all of our love is going out to you right now. Get feeling better. We've got some exciting things that we're going to be doing in 2023 with Stephanie. So, but you shop with that QR code to get your wine, celebrate birthdays, events, everything that you got. Do it, and Zita's Healthy Beginnings is going to be the benefactor of your having a good time. What is better than having a good time knowing that you're supporting a great cause?
Absolutely.
I can't think of anything that's going to be any better. So just help us out, help us make a huge difference, and help us continue to support Zita's Healthy Beginnings. And again, if you look over in the corner, way over there in that corner, you can see the QR code that will sponsor Zita's Healthy Beginnings through the Community Pay It Forward program. So, Zita, again, thank you, my dear. I look forward to talking to you again here in about 2 weeks.
Thank you so much, Zach. And I really appreciate what you're doing. It's not easy, but please keep up the good work. And I know your blessings are already coming. And thank you, and have a wonderful rest of the evening.
Well, thank you,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for joining us on such short notice. But thank you. Hey, everybody, you can also go to right here, which is our Facebook group. We're going to get Zita this information, and she can post to this Facebook group about what they do. This is another great place that you can go. Stephanie is very, very active on this page, giving you some great recipes with wines, some wonderful things that you can do with different wines, introducing different wines. So please make sure that you go to our group page every month. It is someone, it's another wonderful organization like Zita. So, but thank you, Zita. I appreciate it. Have a great evening.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
we are going to be back here in a little bit with we're going to be talking about some of the misnomers of nonprofit world. There's a lot of times that people don't understand what goes into a nonprofit, why a nonprofit fails, things like this. I did a little bit of research today, and I came up with a couple pages that I'm going to read some information to you. It's some really, I find it interesting because nonprofits truly are something that we really need in the world. There's different situations that we need to help people out with, but we will be right back. Once again, you can help out Zita's Healthy Beginnings by simply scanning the QR code right here or going to the event page that is right down here, or, you know, just join us on Friday when we're going to be talking to Stephanie, and you can learn more about some of the great things that we've got going for 2023. It's a long year because it's a year that is just beginning. Also, remember that when you visit the QR code that's in the corner of your screen right now, it's going to take you to this form. This form is specifically for Zita's Healthy Beginnings. And what happens here is you scan on that, and this comes up. You go to this link right here, and it takes you to our verified partners page. You take a photo, and when you shop with any of those partners, you take a photo or you upload the receipt if you get it emailed to you. You enter in your name and your email. If you would like to dedicate it to somebody, you can. If you would like to give us your phone number, please, you can. If you'd like to give us your address and possibly get some gifts from us, you can. You just add, would I like to be in the email blast, the text message program, or the mailing list? Let us know which one we can send you further information about, and then you simply hit submit. So the only things that are required, one more time, are the photo or the upload of the receipt, your name, your email, and then submit. That's all we need for you to take and make a huge difference by simply shopping with some of our fantastic, much needed partners. We've got February 22nd coming up, and it's coming up quickly. February 22nd has become the day when Community Pay It Forward dedicates the entire day. All but 2 hours of that day is dedicated to trying to create the conversation to save veteran lives. We get together with a lot of our partners, with a lot of our friends from all over the world, all over the country, to learn how to create those conversations that are going to save lives. Some of our great friends, as you can see, are O'Sullivan Law Firm, Auxilia Donor Management Systems, Z World Webs, Rider Justice, SCA Bookkeeping and LLC, Autumn Dahlia Creative Services. And look at this. You're going to see a great familiar name here. Our Mrs. Stephanie and her husband Paul and the Samos family. They've also donated, and they're taking a huge part in our program on February 22nd, starting at 4 a.m. in the East, 2 a.m. right here in the Mountain Time, and 1 a.m. Pacific. And why do I bring up Pacific? Because like last year, we are going to bring on my dear friend, my great friend, The Rev, who has his show every Monday and Friday right here on the pACT channel, is going to be joining us and kicking us off in his own unique way. And he's going to throw a prayer our way. You can join us for that prayer if you would like. But he's going to give us the religious aspect of what we are doing. All we know is that we're asking you to please donate or please dedicate 22 minutes of this day, at least 22 minutes of the day, to listen to an interview or two. And as we talk about how serious of a problem this is, and this is not a problem that is just stuck in the world of our veterans. This rolls over into the life of our civilians and all of our friends. So please, please, please make sure that you dedicate at least 22 minutes of your day to watching Community Mission to Rescue 22. Hello, I'm Zach Clayton of Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the pACT channels. We have two choices. We can either sit around and hope this goes away on its own, or we together can do something about it. Join me and my wonderful sponsor partners, Scott O'Sullivan Law Firm and Rider Justice, Z World Webs, Auxilia Donor Management Systems, and Autumn Dahlia Creative Services, as we introduce programs from around the country aimed at helping our veterans and discuss the importance of conversation and listening. Together, you and I can move mountains. Let's save lives. We also want to thank and remind everybody that this show is promoting One Hope Wines, because One Hope Wines is in concert with what we think, and we want to make sure that everything that we do in a day is you're able to donate to something that you love, something you care about. Please, please, please drink very responsibly. Remember that the life that you destroy might not just be your own, it could be others. I want to once again thank Zita for joining us from Zita's Healthy Beginnings and World of Women. Please also remember that Zita does host a show with great friend to the show, Brian Gibson, every Monday night, talking about the uh, his information, the Project Die Hard Monday Mission podcast. So please, please, please make sure that you check that out. Go to Project Die Hard and you can find out the times and where that airs. We are trying to get that to where we can also broadcast that on our airwaves as well. We will let you know and be sharing that with you as soon as we have all of that information. So thank you, Brian, for joining us tonight and putting your, giving us your information and all the, I love the fact that you put this in there, that it is a culture. That's one of the huge differences between the United States and everything else is, our culture's a mix of a lot of cultures, but there's still, there's still a point when people in, we'll call them the old countries because they're older than we are, except for to our natives, and this is their old country. But those who have known that way of life and that way of life only, there's a little more pressure on them to remain in that way of life. If I hope that makes sense, and I hope and please understand there was no disrespect meant in that. One of the things that I did today was I was taking a look because there's a huge misnomer on what the word nonprofit is. This was something that I struggled with when I created a nonprofit right after my accident. That my first foray into the business world was going to be a nonprofit called Biker in Distress, and that unfortunately there were things that there were mishaps taken, wrong ways taken, and I lost control of it. But learning a little bit more about it and trying to build community dare to care, we've been doing a lot more studying on it. And I know that every day there's somebody else who thinks, I don't want someone else to have to go through what I went through to be where we're at. Okay. Each and every one of us always goes through something that we would like to take and protect somebody else from. And so I wanted to bring you some facts and some information about those, what it takes to become a nonprofit. And these are very, very few facts. Please understand that. This is not a full list of everything. Believe me, it's not. As somebody who's already had to go through a little bit of the paperwork, this is not even close to everything. But a not-for-profit organization does not earn profits for their owners. Okay. First off, there is no such thing as an owner of a nonprofit. Founder, yes, but not an owner. I guess you could say that you're the owner of a nonprofit, but the truth is that you work for the people. So that's really, really hard. It's like anybody saying that they own our government. They don't. They work for us. So there is no owner of a nonprofit. All the money earned by or donated to a nonprofit organization is used in pursuing the organization's objectives and keeping it running. This is one of the places where, it being as vague as it is, I think this is one of the times when I wish they kind of would tighten up what it says a little bit, because I think it leaves it a little bit vague. Because you know what? You can go out and make some stupid purchases and say it's for the cause, and it's not always for the cause. There's a little bit of leeway that you can get around. The IRS, we all know them. By the way, I want to make this mention again. The IRS right now has a great program to where they are rewarding nonprofits and businesses with W-2 employees who stayed in business through the pandemic. If you stayed in business, or if you created a business during the pandemic, you need to call our great friend Larry and see how he can help you. Larry Goldstein, sorry, I drew a blank on his last name because I claim head injury, but I wasn't that smart to begin with. Ha ha ha. Anyway, call Larry Goldstein because he can help get you money. And here's a little more information about Larry, and then we will get going on this. I saw the words IRS, and I saw my shiny squirrel. He jumped out there and attacked me. So, but here's some more information about how you, simply by having W-2 employees and staying in business during the pandemic and doing the right thing by your employees, how you can be rewarded for simply doing what you do. Okay, so where we were going with this before, like I said, I got attacked by my shiny squirrel. The IRS, which regulates tax exempt status, and that's something that's very important that you got to remember, is that you're not messing around with just some section of the government that doesn't really pay attention. You are messing with when you're in a nonprofit, you're dealing with the IRS, so you really got to be careful. But the IRS allows a 501c3 nonprofit to pay reasonable salaries to officers, employees, or agents for services rendered to further the nonprofit's corporation's tax exempt purposes. Most nonprofits have paid staff. The thing that drives me crazy is when people hear nonprofit and they think that it means no pay. Okay, that's not true. The fact of the matter is a nonprofit, to be a successful, to be one of the forefronts of what they do, they need someone to watch it like a hawk. Our great friend Brian Gibson, he does this using his retirement. He has vowed he'll never take a salary. He has that option. And I'm telling you right now, that's fantastic. That's awesome. That is awesome. Okay. But it is not a bad thing to have salaried or hourly employees to help you maintain and further your goal on no matter what industry in the nonprofit status you work for. So please remember, please, I beg of you, nonprofit does not mean no pay. If you have a nonprofit where you don't have somebody who's watching it like a hawk, you've got a hobby. You don't have a business. Okay. It's in a non-for-profit organization, all funds either earned or donated must be used for the group's objections and paying its running costs. Okay, that's where nonprofit comes from. At the end of the day, the program cannot show that they make a profit. They can't have money sitting in a bank that is unjust, that it doesn't have a designation. Every penny that you've got in a bank has to have a destination to go, whether it's advertising, whether it's salaries, whether it's an event, whether it's something like that. Every penny has to have a destination. Okay? That's where the nonprofit comes from. You can't sit there at the end of the day and go, hey, we can all go on you know what? We've had a great year. We've raised $500,000 and we don't know what to do with it, so we're going to go on a trip. It's not like that. You cannot have that. So, again, nonprofit means that you have no money at the end of the day that's not dedicated to something else. So, nonprofit funds never go. Oh wait, many nonprofits have a lot in common with for-profit organizations and use similar business and management techniques to run their enterprises. What this means is, you know what, you business plan is required. You need to run it like, you got to run your employees the same way. You got to treat there's nothing about a nonprofit, the way that you hire and keep your employees, their health and well-being in line is very important. And that's just like a regular business. Every non-for-profit organization has to maintain compliance with the state agency that regulates its charitable organizations where it's based. Every state is different. Okay, every state is very different on how a nonprofit runs. Every state that you work in, you have to file a nonprofit. We ended up doing that with our great friends at Marie Barney Boston. She filed the paperwork here in Colorado so we could raise money here in Colorado. So another beautiful woman that we love dearly, and we've had her on our wine event as well. Common 501c3 rules and regulations. I would like to credit Mr. Nick Price for this. This was written by Nick Price. 501c3 code is an IRS classification or classifies them as tax exempt, not having to pay taxes on donations and on the funds they raise stretches their dollars, making it easier for them to continue to provide valuable services for the community. So once again, this isn't them saying, well, we don't have to pay taxes and we're doing that to save money for our program. No, there is no money for the program or for a new jet ski or whatever. That's not what a nonprofit is. If there is at the end of the day, then you've got somebody who's not running a nonprofit correctly. Some of the types of 501c3 organizations. Federal tax code lists several different types of organizations that, once again, they don't have to pay income taxes. Some of the basics are charities. Zita's, we've been talking about a lot of them here. Marie, Barney, Boston, Project Die Hard, and of course Zita's Healthy Beginnings. Hospitals, religious organizations, and that's one that sometimes that's one that gets used and abused, and that's one that just bugs me. Educational institutions, scientific organizations, literary groups, groups that test for public safety, groups that foster national or international amateur sports competitions, and anti-cruelty organizations to animals or children, sorry. Again, very liberal. A lot of those are very, very easy to skirt around. There are some, and I'm not going to list them. I'm not going to name them. I'm not going to name them. As much as I would like to, I'm not going to name them. I wrote out and was part of a group that went and not protested, but we went and we made our voices and our engines known in front of this building. But they are a church, and they are set up as a religious organization, and their goal in life is to not allow or not respect people with different sexual preferences, and they tend to boycott our veterans and our heroes when they die. And this is one of the most despicable group I've ever seen in my life. And I will be honest with you, if you belong to this group, I don't apologize for that. I don't, because what you're doing is wrong. It's very wrong. So, but that's one of the places where a religious group is able to take and using the religious jurisdiction on here, or not jurisdiction, the religious organization type here, they're able to get away with doing a lot of things. Startup rules for 501c3 organizations. Okay, these are some. Once again, these are some. Please understand there are so many more. I think I started thinking of s'mores and s'mores, just like rolled out of my mouth. S'mores. Some more. Okay, now I want a s'more. Damn it. A 501c3 organization. Damn it. A 501c3 organization typically begins when a group of people share a common goal of starting a nonprofit organization to fill a need within their community. There are very, very few organizations, 501c3 organizations, and especially when it comes to something in the community, that are started from a great place, okay? Somebody has fallen into something that they've struggled with, and they started this organization, and we've heard the story of Brian, where he had to pull the gun out of his mouth. We've heard the story with John of Martyred Angels that just tears me apart. Reading about Bladen drowning in the family pond at the age of 3 years old. We were blessed by Megan telling us her story. Again, Megan, congratulations, my dear. Congratulations. There's so many organizations out there that are doing that started because they came upon a hole, and they found a way to bridge that hole to where they could get over it and help other people. So utilize their knowledge. After carefully choosing a name for the organization, the founders get to work writing the articles of incorporation. Once again, that's something that you have to do as a business as well, your articles of incorporation. The articles of incorporation must include the corporation's name, contact information, the purpose, registered agent, founding directors, and information about shares of stock, because once they are filled, they become public record. That's why no owner. In most states, founders file the form for the articles of incorporation with the Secretary of State. By the way, you want to check on the validity of a nonprofit? Go to your Secretary of State, type in that organization where it says search for a nonprofit. If they are a true nonprofit, they will be listed there, and you're going to be able to find out that they are in good standings with the Secretary of State. If you have reservations about a nonprofit, make sure that you do your due diligence, please, because if you don't, and look, there's a lot of times that nonprofits do start this and they don't always know all the rules. There's a lot of rules. I mean, that's one of the things that we're trying to do right here. There are a lot of rules that you have to know. Organizations usually have to designate an incorporator. I love the way that they put that in parentheses, because who signs and files the articles of incorporation with the proper authorities and pays the appropriate filing fee. That's where the lawyers come in handy. Lawyers have done this before, and there are some people who go out there and they do this all on their own. God love you. God bless you, because you are a stronger person than I am, because there is so much legalese that I ain't touching it. We're going to do it properly. When we do ours, we will be hiring an attorney, and they'll be doing it. They will be our incorporator. So, because I try to be a smart person, but I ain't that smart. So, the founding directors write the bylaws, which outline how the nonprofit runs, including the rights and responsibilities of the officers and the directors. There was something that was put on here, and it's very, very, and actually we're going to talk about it a little bit down further, but he was talking about, you got to be careful when somebody asks you if you want to become part of the organization and they want to take everything on. Hey, do you want to be my such and such in name only? Yeah, be careful when you do that, because that's, and I am very guilty of this. After what happened to me with my nonprofit and the way it ended, it's very hard for me to give up any control to anyone. My wife and I have had she's tried to pound it through my thick skull that you need to release some of the responsibility, and I find it hard to do. I've been trying to work on that. Hopefully I'm getting better, but I'm not going to promise. But I'll tell you, and especially in the nonprofit world, because there are so many things that you got to do. You do have to deal with so many more people who just sit there and they're overview boards and just it's crazy. So anybody who says, we want to bring you in name only, I would, humble opinion, try to convince them otherwise, or slowly back away, because that's something that there's too much work for one person to do. The next step is usually appoint a founding board of directors and hold the first board meeting. Board meetings are very structured. You have to have a and excuse me if on I'm just going to go with an adjutant. We used an adjutant, which is or a secretary. So that's their job is to basically record the entire board meeting and have it there for public consumption. Your board meetings are open to the public. They need what you discuss needs to be open to the public. The public needs to know what's going on. So after that, the board needs to follow up on obtaining all the proper licenses and permits and open a bank account for the nonprofit's funds. You cannot put it into someone's private fund. It has to be a there's dual signing, and it has to be a in one account for the nonprofit's use and the nonprofit's use only. So that is something that is very, very important. Here's a couple requirements to maintain a 501c3 status. The government intends for nonprofit entities to remain nonprofit entities so they can set some rules, and tax exemption organizations they must obey in order to keep their tax exempt status. Not knowing these rules isn't an excuse for disobeying them. I love that. Those who try to blur or cross the line end up with fines or face other legal consequences in court, including that wonderful word of the one to fraud. I was trying to think of a better term for it, but if you go fraudulent trying to, tell people that, yeah, I'm raising money for such and such thing, and they find out you're not doing anything with it, you can go to... Here are 6 things to watch out for. Private benefit. Organizations that apply for tax exempt status cannot serve the private interests or privately benefit of any individual or organization besides itself. If somebody comes to you and they say, you know what? Well, I'm going to buy this grill for myself. They use their tax exempt status and the government finds out about it. That was illegally obtained. Don't do that. Smack on the hands. Nonprofits are not allowed to urge their members to support or oppose legislation. They may participate in small amount of lobbying, but lobbying activities may not exceed a certain amount of an organization's total expense. Here in Colorado, this year, this last midterm, we had something about the gaming rights of nonprofits. You cannot have a nonprofit come out and spend millions of dollars to say, we support this passing. It's not like a business that can come out and say, you know what, we're going to put $30 million on this and say, we really support this. But nonprofits, you're not allowed to do that. Political campaign activity. A nonprofit organization may not financially support or endorse any political candidates verbally or in writing. They may not oppose candidates either. This rule applies to candidates at every level, that's local, state, and federal. So where we all have candidates that we would like to support or back, or candidates that we don't want to support or back, we're not, in the nonprofit world, you're not allowed to go out and tell people about it. It doesn't. It just doesn't. It's a no. Don't do that. I don't know why the hell you would do that anyway. Your purpose is to help people. You want to make sure that you're actually helping people instead of trying to make a statement. Unrelated business income. Nonprofit organizations are not allowed to generate too much income from a purpose that is unrelated to the nonprofit. An organization that regularly operates a trade or business that is unrelated to the nonprofit and makes significant contributions to the organization will need to pay taxes. Basically, you cannot, there's thrift stores are one of the biggest things. Okay, thrift stores, they a lot of times sponsor, we'll go with Habitat for Humanity. Habitat for Humanity, they run a thrift store that goes towards their organization. Now, if Habitat for Humanity would all of a sudden come out and Habitat for Humanity in Greeley would write a check for $30 million to Habitat for Humanity, the organization, IRS is going to go, you did not sell $30 million worth of used nails this month. Okay, you can't do that. So that's where they're going with that. Annual reporting obligation. Nonprofit corporations still have reporting responsibilities like the Form 990. They must also be responsible for things like tax on unrelated income, employment tax, excise tax, and certain state and local taxes. Churches and other church-related organizations do not need to report income. Another thing I'm not sure if I'm too thrilled with, but I don't have to be thrilled, right? Operate in accord with stated nonprofit purpose. This is a big one. Okay, an organization that makes a big shift from being unprofitable to making money needs to refile as a for-profit entity and to pay the applicable fees. That means if at the end of the year you have money in the bank that did not go where it was supposed to, that it's not dedicated to anything, it's just sitting there, you are no longer a nonprofit. You have to have everything, every penny has to go to something. You cannot show a profit. 7 reasons why nonprofits fail. I would like to recognize Tracy Ebarb for this veteran fundraiser for the National Association of Nonprofit Organization and Executives. This was one of her writings. 7 reasons why nonprofits fail. Empty optimism or pie in the sky dreams without proper ingredients to bake a pie. Damn it. We had s'mores a second ago and now we're talking about pie. This lesson in futility is going to make me even fatter just because of the sweets talk. So, basically, some organizations will falter because the leaders simply did not accurately calculate the amount of support that would be available and the alliances and partnerships they would need to support their humble beginnings. Very guilty of this in this business. So this is not just in nonprofit, but when you first get started, there's a lot of nonprofit. When you start up a nonprofit, they want you to tell them what your finances are going to be in 10 years. That's hard to do. Even in the best of times, it's hard to do. So, but again, you still need to take and you need to guess. Look, I'm going to need, 30% of the money to come through donations, 25% to come through the thrift store, yada yada yada. You know, you need to make sure that you're focused on what you're actually going to need from people. So when you go out there and you start talking to people about where this money is going to come from, it's better for you and the growth of your organization, along with, you know, having an organization. Lack of a sound business plan is recipe for disaster. So, values vacuum or poor organizational development. This one strikes a nerve. It is far too common for autocratic or self-focused. This is what I was talking about earlier, about if there's a guy out there who says, I got this. This is what I was talking about. And wow, that's the first time that's come up. My little nice little Wi-Fi button just came on. But anyway, it for self-focused founders to establish one core value: do as I say. These nonprofit heads find it very difficult to transfer authority or to share the limelight or leadership with an empowered team. I mentioned I am terrible at this. I've been terrible at this for, you know, my entire life. It's something that I've been struggling with, and hopefully I'll get over that. But I do work hard. There's little internal trust and insufficient values to guard against abuse of power, privilege, and people. So just remember that. If you're starting out an organization, just remember the people that you're bringing in. You're bringing them in for a reason. You're not bringing them in to be a pretty person sitting on a seat. So, competitive blinders or we're unique. There's no one like us in the market. This is another one that, you know, every business is a little unique. Okay. You're going to have places like McDonald's and Burger King. Very similar. Right up and down. Very similar. But there's also a difference there, you know. So there's businesses like yours somewhere. It's kind of like we talk about every once in a while, where if you're going through something where you feel like no one has ever been through that, I'm here to tell you people have been through it before. Your unique is different because it's unique to you, and you are going through things that other people may not realize and may not be able to 100% comprehend. But there are people who have been through things very, very similar to you. This is kind of the same thing. Often it's because they are so focused on the needs and crises around the crisis around them, or they cannot imagine anyone or anything that would detour them from their righteous ends. Charities are often unfamiliar with or even repelled by the notion of competitors, so they don't recognize true rivals or adjust to compete. This is something that is so the nonprofit world, I'm just going to say it, the nonprofit world a lot of times is like being in the biker world. You have people who want to claim territory, you know. Well, and this is something that Community Pay It Forward has actually had to go through. We're not a nonprofit, but we had to go through somebody telling us that we were stepping on their toes. How we're stepping on anybody's toes, one, and why you would even claim that too, I don't know. This blindness also manifests itself in a lack of research done to determine if there are other organizations doing the same thing with the basic same goals. Cooperation, even merging with another organization, would be so much more efficient. Again, We went to an organization that will remain nameless, and we told them what we were trying to do. We tried to bring them on board for this event, and we were told we were stepping on their toes. I couldn't help but laugh because they weren't doing anything on that day, and I didn't see how we were stepping on their toes. Iced innovation or notion that our website is good enough for now. This right here, I'm just going to say this is where what we talk about on ADA compliant websites is very, very important, because there are very, very few nonprofits in the world that can take that $75,000 hit that these lawyers are going out and dinging people on. There are very few nonprofit organizations that can take that hit on the chin and survive. So please remember, all you nonprofits out there, make sure you are finding out and finding people who can help you with your ADA compliant websites. It is critical, because if you get hit, are you going to survive? Can you take $75,000 and pay off this bill and go, I don't think you can. Partly because it's not in your budget. What the hell would you even name that? Yeah, we got, this is our portion of the budget for when we get, because we didn't do something we should have done, we get hit for. I'm not sure if the government would see that right. Mobile access, mobile devices, and the experience of the internet has changed user expectations and has also provided nonprofits with more level playing field. Companies which are disruptive, or at least are very different from doing business as usual, are able to make more of an impact. So if you can prove yourself, as doing something just as good as the bigger guys, but do it at a more ground level, do it at a more, in our community, there's more people who are going to be responsive if you've got better technology, if your website is better. Ask yourself this question: is your organization set up to allow donors to find and give you what they want to give, when they want to give it? Now pick up your smartphone and see how easily and quickly, or not, you can find your site and make a donation, because they will not go to a desktop and make this donation. If they can't find it on their phone, we tell our son all the time, out of sight, out of mind. If they're thinking about it right then and there, they want to donate right then and there. Maybe they heard your commercial on the radio. Maybe they heard somebody talking about it and they're like going, hey, sounds great. I think I want to. They try to look it up on their phone and the print is too small. They can't find the donation button. It doesn't click like it's supposed to. You're going to lose out on donations. So make sure that you take really good care of that. The good news is that all technology makes the playing field for causes more level if you use it properly. Today's technology also, any sized organization, the ability gives. Okay, let me try this again in English, because that's the language I know. Today's technology allows any sized organization the ability to communicate, educate, and engage on a greater scale than ever before at a relatively little cost. Go to communitypayitforward.us, go to ADA compliant websites. There's a couple great people in there that can build a website for you and make sure that it has everything that you need to continue doing what you're doing. Okay, so they can give you everything that you need to do, everything you need to concentrate on. I'm quickly running out of time, so if you do not innovate, you will disappear. And if there's no adjustment, of the creative content, communications, or methods of the new times and trends, you will miss out on opportunities. Don't be judged as adequate and perhaps antiquated, sorry, not adequate, antiquated and perhaps irrelevant. Make sure that you are enabled, you can capture attention in a crowded field and present new ways for people to engage with your mission. Mission creep, or yeah, we should do that too, because charities are in the business of changing the world. Their leaders are often seen to stop themselves from seeing every need as a call. Seeing every need as a call. I don't know why I marked that, but it didn't make a lot of sense to me. This result is lack of mission clarity, and a donor confusion. And especially if you listen to me say that, it's going to be donor confusion. Stop. Be careful that you forget who the real boss is. Once again, the real boss is not the CEO. The real boss is not the guy that sits in the fancy chair. And quite frankly, if he's doing it right, he doesn't even make all the decisions. He's part of making the decisions, but actually very little part if they do it right, if they got a good board. The money is more important than the mission is put on here, and I understand what they're saying. So bear with me for a second. Nonprofits exist to serve and meet the needs on a global scale. We care deeply for the causes we embrace, often to the detriment of our founders. One man is not an army. One man cannot fulfill the needs of a nonprofit. A successful nonprofit knows that their number one customer is their donors. Without the donors, there would be no impact, no people served, no mouths fed, no backs clothed. So that's where they are. That's where she mentions that the money is more important than the mission. Without the money, there is no mission. So, the fear of information is the last one that she mentions. There's a paralysis in analysis. That's just fun to say because I actually said it correctly. There's a real and present danger for organizations who dive too deeply into studying the data of their donors at the expense of personal relationships. And I just really like that because you're going to forego somebody because of some analytic. And when that happens, you're going to lose out on a customer. That's one of, we mentioned that about the ADA compliant. Why wouldn't you want somebody who's who's got vision problems? Why wouldn't you do everything you can do to make sure that they can see your website, because they are they're a potential, if not a more viable customer, if they're less likely to go out and shop in a store when they can sit at home in the safety of their home and shop from a computer. If you eliminate that for them, they're going to move on to somebody who's got it. Here's a couple things that common mistakes of failing nonprofits fit into the categories below. Not having a qualified leader, no website or poorly designed website, poor planning or record keeping. Again, you've got many people watching over you, so be careful. Marketing only to large donors, not thinking of the smaller donors are just as important. Remember, every dollar you have today is a dollar you did not have yesterday. And nonprofit does not mean tax exempt. Know your tax laws of your state. Over 50% of nonprofits fail. It's just a true fact. Over 50% of them fail. And not knowing what you need to know, ignorance is not bliss in this account. If you don't know the true laws, if you don't know what you need to know, it can really, really put you in a very, very bad situation. So please make sure there are a lot of great programs out there that help deal with nonprofits. We have a lot of nonprofits that we work with that would be glad to talk to you because maybe you're in a like-minded situation and you just want to kind of learn what they've went through. These people are out there to help other people. That's what they're there to do. Yeah, they're there to make sure that they've got, accessible resources for people who need their information. But you know what? The more that you know about them, the better they are, because you can tell people about them when they need their resources. So please just remember, once again, no man's an island. Please remember that you need other people to help you build your nonprofit. Look up information on the internet, because everything on the internet is true, right? But actually, in a situation like this, I did find some really, really good information about nonprofits. And just please do know, nonprofit does not mean no pay. Okay? If you do not have somebody watching it like a hawk, you don't have a nonprofit, you've got a hobby. Make sure that you got people in place where you need people in place, and good luck. Great luck. I wish you the best of luck. I hope to God it comes out, and remember that Community Pay It Forward is here as a resource for helping you get money in your coffers. That's what we're here to do and try to help. So that's about all the time for me tonight, whatever this is. I don't know. This day went somewhere. I don't know. It started really early and I don't know where it went. But all I want you to know is we just want to make sure that you understand we're here to help you. We're here to help everyone. Please make sure that you love somebody out there, because somebody out here loves you. If you're not helping someone, you're hurting everyone, because nobody has to go it alone when we all come together. Join me on Friday when I will be joined by the goddess of the grapes, Stephanie Samos, and we're going to be talking about Zita's Healthy Beginnings and the program that we're running to help support her. So please join us Friday at 3 Eastern, 1 Mountain Time. 2. Wait a minute, that's not right. I just realized that's not right at all. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. 1 Mountain Time. I don't know what I'm talking about. 1 Mountain Time, as we do bring in Stephanie, and we talk more about Zita and Zita's Healthy Beginnings. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. Please remember, take care of yourself, take care of somebody else, because we're all we got.
Stepping out of her fear, bring me home. Out alone, show me the way. You wanna be a part of Sunset Boulevard.